Alright, y'all. This is gonna be a little QB segment thing we'll be doing for DBU. I don't know if y'all know, but we got the new QB channel, so me and a few others are gonna basically help out with QBing, cause I know there's a lot of new people that want to learn how to get better at it. And I'll be trying to give y'all some tips that I've learned over my 2 years of playing this game. You know, I've got a few accomplishments I've made, so I'm gonna teach y'all what I know and kind of give y'all some tips. So before we get started, quarterback is seen as the most important position on the field because it controls the entire game. The QB is in complete control, and everybody else has to react to what the quarterback does, which makes the offense have a huge advantage over defense. Because the offense gets to do whatever they want, the defense has to react to it, and not that many people are able to react as quickly as they can, which makes it really hard for defenders to get stops, and really the only way for an interception to happen is by user error. So either the QB underthrowing a pass, or let's say the receiver drops something, that's are ways that jobs can be ended, but it's really hard to mess up in this game. I've had my fair share of mess ups, but so what's it called? Something that is really important in this game is when you read the field. Reading the field, if you know how to read it, can basically carry you in everything else in this game, except scrambling. But basically everything else is basically just carried by reading the field. And a really good way that I like to read the field, and I bet most people do this too, is reading from low to high progression. So, if I get this thing out. So basically, what I would do is I would basically look at this LOS, and usually I have him go wherever side he's rolling, so I look for him first, and then I'd look, it depends on how the MLB and the short are guarding. So if I see that the MLB is guarding this LOS, I'll look up to the midfold, because that will usually be open. If I see the short try to make a read, then I'll move to the right fold. So we can look now, kind of see how this happens. So you kind of see Tunis is guarding him, and you can kind of see my eyes look more to the middle. I could just throw a jump pass to him right now, but instead I try to make a little scramble move. It actually worked out pretty well, but I didn't really have anything open that I was comfortable with throwing. I kind of had him until Has kind of cloned him, but still, I probably should have thrown away instead at that point. But yeah, reading the field, you see I look for my LOS, and then I kind of look up. So LOS, let's say the MLB starts to guard him, I'd go from LOS to midfold, and then I kind of look at the deeps. I see, okay, are the deeps making a read on this midfold? And if they are, I'll look at which deep is, and then I'll kind of look at that fold. So say this guy's midfolding. If I actually get to a part. That's AFK. So see I look him. I look this middle, and let's say I didn't come back, right? If I see this deep is dropping, and I'm kind of looking, my next read would be this right fold, and then based on how that short is playing, I'd either throw this right fold or I'd throw this check down. But I threw the comeback anyway. But you really don't want to challenge yourself with hard passes. People, a good example is Envy Core. That guy's really, really talented at this game. Probably the best mechanical quarterback ever. But he relies too much on his mechanics, and he tries to make the harder pass instead of usually taking in what the defense gives him. He has 2 rings. He's obviously ahead of me, so I'm not gonna, talk down on him. But everybody can get better somehow. So again, I had that LOS if I want to throw it. That's what I was talking about earlier, right? Okay, yeah, that's what I was talking about. So, also about scrambling real quick. This DE starts to bounce to the outside, which means I already know that he goes out and up here. And when that happens, that's an indicator that you want to take the misbet. So my O-line does a good job of holding him. And for a split second, Tunis pushes up. And I can still throw this midfield, definitely. I mean, it's wide open. But I kind of see this deep start to make a read on it, start to close in. So like I said, I look at the right side. This short is taking the fold all the way down, which means that this is going to be wide open. And he has just process of elimination. He gets the first down. Very, very simple. So now first down. The red zone, what I like to do is I like to basically throw my LOS a lot here, especially at like the 15-yard line. What I like to do is I like to have my LOS sent with me, and then I'll kind of get to like the 5-yard line, and it's easy to call a VC play. Here I try looking for a lob, which is actually not a good thing. You don't really want to throw lobs on second or third down. Lobs are more like a first down type of play, because lobs are very like hard to throw most of the time. Like that's like a really hard pass. If you're throwing that on second down, now look, it's 3rd and 15, and I'm in a harder spot. So I still call a VC play, it worked out. Now we're at the 5-yard line, and I'm much more comfortable calling a VC play here than I'm at 15-yard line, because my VC plays kind of extend, extend better at this 5-yard line. So that's the first drive. As you saw that drive, I really didn't make any difficult pass. All I threw that drive were my LOSs and my midfold. That was really it. And that's all you really need in this game. Too many QBs I see, like for example, not trying to discredit anybody, but like we could say like Shooken Up, Kian, two talented QBs mechanically, but they've relied too much on their mechanics, and that's why that they come up short a lot. You know, I mean, you can sometimes you'll win games purely off being able to hit every pass that you can, but your playstyle becomes too predictable at that point, and if you're not going to throw the LOS, then what's the point of the defense guarding it? You're going to try and force a deep ball into double coverage. Instead of taking a check down, you know, they're going to catch on to you. So here, this is really, I play this like basically perfectly. This is why offense is so much more like advantageous than defense. So I just sit here in the pocket and Tunis just pushes up for 5 yards, you could say. And that guarantees that this middle gap is going to be wide open because he chose to leave it. He leaves his gap to try and pressure me. Does the same thing again, right? So because he leaves his gap, we should draw. So his gap is supposed to be over here. He should be guarding this guy. Because he tries to push up to me, means that this is going to be wide open, this whole mid area. And you can kind of see RCB Kaler try to compensate for him being an idiot. So he tries to get over there. Let's say I didn't throw this. If I held the ball and I kept holding back, he is basically leaving his gap wide open over here to compensate for his. Which means that I can just call a comeback or just throw a check down and it's a guaranteed first down. It's not Kaler's fault. Some people might look at it and be like, well, why did he leave his gap? It's completely Tunis' fault for just leaving his gap wide open. And you see RCB Kaler tries to go back, but at that point it's just too late. And that's probably one of the easiest throws you can make in the whole game. It's just a simple midfold. But that's why this is like very like, this game's very offense oriented. That was a really stupid misflip by me. Me and my O-line were trying something out for a play. It didn't really work out. But yeah, it was first down, so you can kind of risk those type of plays. Here I threw my LOS, my streak kind of messed it up. So he only got stuck at 7. But also on like those type of plays where it's like second and long, you don't want to like force like a deep pass because let's say it gets swatted down, and now you're at 3rd and long, and that's even harder. So I always like to try and get like a decent amount of yards until this was much more manageable. Okay, this is a really good play to go over. This is amazing. Okay. So 3rd and 12, the defense automatically knows that I'm probably going to try looking for something deeper to try and get the first down, right? So I look at my LOS, like I said, put high. I could throw this, definitely. I just didn't really look at it. I look at them eyeing down this midfold because I see Tunis is playing quite far under. And then I'm like, okay, this deep comes to go again. Tunis leaves his gap on this man. He should be basically guarding this guy, and he could be here. Cause this game, the play can definitely easily get like transition into man-to-man defense. So let's say 2 assists was harder on him. He would stick him. He would get him. He'd get him. He'd get him. He'd get him, and then the deep would go over there and get him. And it's just boxed, basically. It's just boxed. But because 2 assists is playing extremely under, somebody has to compensate for his own, and in this case, it's the deep. So automatically, like I said, I instantly look at my right fold. He actually played it as best as he possibly could. He went back in because it was just so wide open, and A-Sharp was all the way in this corner. So I just looked to my right, and this guy has 10 yards of space. And I threw it kind of low, but he got to the 1 yard line anyway. And then when you're here, it's just basically like you have to kind of score here. I can't really teach you much about red zone. It's just gotta have good plays, and you can just steal some from any QB. But yeah, this game is very easy. So here you go. I mean that play got cut off, but I threw a midfield because again, 2 assists being stupid. Doesn't know how to play MLB correctly. Here again, this is kind of why you need to know how to scramble here. So because I've taken the misplay about like 3 times already, and still just barely the second quarter, they're basically gonna play way harder on it, and that's like that would have been my 4th attempt, right? And because Scribble was like expecting me to keep going, he bites so incredibly hard inside. I mean, look at this right now. I've got like 4 yards of separation. Not 5. And Tino's list also thought the same thing. I take that split, he pushed up, and now this midfield gap is open. Again, RCB killer tries to make a read. I could have done that better, but it's just basically impossible for him to get over there. And again, if I held onto the ball, that left sideline gap was wide open as well. But if you see something open, you gotta take it, So kind of here. First down, I like to look back end zone a lot. I don't know why, but it's just something I do. I feel pretty confident in my back end zone. So here I kind of free routed here, and I didn't really have much space. So I kind of just called a play, like mid play. You have to be able to communicate as a QB. Because if you're quiet the whole time, it's much harder. You need to be actively talking with your team, giving out comms. Because the QB knows the game better than anybody, really. The QB controls everything. So now I'm really pushed back. Chicken Chomper kind of played it bad. And I start out. A lot of times I see people try and play hero ball.
Yo, you were right. This Aaron's awful. Bro, he had a wide open touchdown. He dropped it, but he caught this one. That is.
So what's it called?
Duggar threw the greatest.
A lot of time
He dropped it.
I see people trying to play hero ball, and they try and like make a play. Oh wait, they try and make a play, and they either get sacked or just nothing comes out of it. When they could have just easily thrown it away and then be a loss for them. Here, I was too predictable. Something that a lot of QBs, including myself, I've noticed from watching other VODs, other gameplay, is that people push up in the pocket way too much. And pushing up in the pocket is an indicator that you're about to throw the ball. So that's when a lot of suicide rates happen. That's when most interceptions are caused, or when the QBs push up for like a second, and people just drop to try and make a read. And here, I got read by a team assist. He actually made a good read for the first time. And he swatted it down, which was a good play from him. Alright, next drive. Low to high. So let's play. You see RCB Killer just full commit on that slant out. And EXO kind of made a bad decision by holding S. She made it clear to him, so when you see this happen, I'm going to play it again. Probably going to draw too. So look at this. He just full commits on his LOS, and the pump fake was like a cherry on top. Just absolutely full commits. What EXO should do is he can just stop moving or just come back, and this gap is for a free first down. but he wasn't really aware. Coming, look at this, he is right next to him, and just a simple comeback would have been a first down, but he didn't really do it, and I got pressured because I was just eyeing him down the whole play. I threw it away. I actually kind of made a good pass, but it's unfortunately a legal touch. So I kind of keep this this thing that he just did in mind for the future, for like future references. He does the same thing again, makes the exact same read. This time RCB or not RCB, XO makes the right decision, and it's really important to like see these things and keep them in your mind throughout the game, making patterns of keeping like patterns that players do, and you keep it in like your brain. So here I take a mid split. I don't really get much out of it because I didn't really see anything open. So at that point you can kind of just take a run there. Even if for like 4 yards, a run is better than nothing. Second down, 30 seconds left, kind of in hurry up mode. But also trying to milk a little bit of clock out. This was a bad play. This should have been picked off. So not necessarily a terrible read. Definitely could have done much better, but it's mostly just a throw error. So I throw this way too high up. This is honestly not even that open. It looks open, but if I throw this low, 2 assists could make a read and slot it. But he actually was dropping, but I threw this way too high up. Pedal is terrible. Not terrible, but that play he was terrible. Had a free ant, dropped it, so we kind of got built up. But like you can see, like these completely avoidable mistakes that happen from just bad QB play. Like that was very avoidable. Again, I pushed up in the pocket, and you can kind of see A-Trupped start to drop. I'll play it again. So A-Trupped is kind of guarding this guy. I push up, and he drops. He's like, okay, he's gonna throw this guy. He drops. He went back up though, but I got sacked, threw out of it, so it kind of worked out. Second and down, second and goal. On second down, it's very important to try and get a completion here, because second and 15, if you throw an incompletion, ooh, drop that. Let's look at that again. It was like a little cross route, was it? Yeah, cross route. I noticed that this guy dragged Verizon all the way out with him, which just guarantees that this gap in is going to be open, because it's short and then remaining. Like I said, on second down, it's important to be able to get a completion, even if it's for like 5 yards, because it's much easier to convert on like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 10, than 3rd and 15, obviously. So here is a VC play. I just overthrew it barely. Because now look, it's fourth and goal at the 15-yard line, and it's much harder to get a VC play converted from this far away. But I think we still got it anyway. Yeah, worked out anyway. But yeah, don't make the mistake that I did there. That was really dumb. A little high. I know here RCB Kelly doesn't full commit like he usually does. And I kind of screwed myself over this play. I let it fly. Did I hit it? I angled. Okay, I kind of played this poorly. I pushed myself back really bad. I also had the wrapper and I could have kept going. But I didn't really miss it this play. And I kind of confused my O-line a lot. And it kind of got him pushed. It got him in a bad spot. So I kind of had to throw it. Almost a good pass, but... So I know Tune Assist has been very push-up heavy this entire game. He's been doing it the whole game. So here what I'd try and do is I bait him into pushing up and throw a quick check down, and it worked out really well. Got the first down. Keeping like in mind like what people on the other team are doing, like their patterns, is very important. So you can abuse that. This play, amazing. Oh, I love this play. Absolutely amazing. Again, that's why mid-fold is so overpowered, and why you have to sit mid at quarterback. S-holding is the worst thing you can possibly do. So, Chicken Chomper does a fantastic job of holding this dude. It was like 4 blocks. You know, all I really do here is I don't really have anything to do. I just slip middle. That makes two instances push up. And because I've done this guy mid-fold like 5 times already, they're gonna feel inclined and pressured to drop on it to try and make a read. and they both do it. RCB Kaler catches that a little bit late. He's like, oh, we just did the same thing. But at that point, it's too late. He is so wide open. And it's just like I said earlier. That mid fold, whatever deep tries to make a read on it, that fold becomes your next option. It's just completely splitting them. And that's a huge chunk of yards gained right there. Alright, first and 15. I, again, earlier I said their back end zones. Here I just overthrew it.
He dropped a free pick.
No. Slicking it down, trying to get a completion here, because crucial. They did a really good route. And it worked out perfectly. He got a touchdown. It was amazing. Alright, new drive. As you can see from all of my drives, I've only made one difficult pass, which was that deep ball. So here I just get pressured instantly. My tight end didn't really hit many chips. So I just kind of throw it away. You don't really want to take a risk, especially on first down, because you still have 2 more guaranteed downs for the entire, like, rep. You still have 2 more downs until, like, to get the first down, and possibly a third one. So yeah, second down, very important to get that completion, because now instead of, say I threw an incompletion, 3rd and 15, it's now 3rd and 4, which is so much easier to convert on, plus we get an extra down. So Henry makes a good job of switching because that DE went inside. Still the midfold. Evil Solos was an idiot, a dimwit. He sucks at the game. And he dropped it. But let's see. So now it's 4th and 4. Good thing we got that completion on second down because now we can go for it. But so I usually, let's see what I do here. I think I call a VC play. Yeah, kind of got boxed up. And I made a really dumb decision here, so you can kind of see me look to throw that deep. That was a really dumb pass. So I threw it deep, when instead I should have held the ball, and I would have had this guy wide open. But I throw it, I overthrow it, and the drive is over. So that 3rd and 4th down, you never want to throw deep. Never ever want to throw deep. So now, alright, at this kind of, area in the red zone, you don't really want to look to lob. Once you go crossbody like that, most people don't really give burns anymore. And that's why when you're here, you want to throw like a really quick VC play to me. Not to me. Very quick VC play here. Here you can see the DEs line up all the way to the numbers, and your O-line can't go to the outside the hash. It kind of like makes it really hard. But there, quick VC play, got enough to go for it. Okay. So here, I just call a play, but I actually froze. So now I'm kind of in a hard spot. My Wi-Fi's terrible, but he's wide open in the middle. Tunisov tried making a read on the LOS, and he's open. Henry was low-key lagging like the entire play, so I just threw it away. Again, first down, you don't want to make anything stupid. Wow.
Dude, the short, I'm telling you, so bad.
Who?
You have 4 touchdowns to Maddox.
Alright, second down. Eventually, throughout the game, you're going to notice the MLB start to switch things up. He's still doing that push-up thing, but instead of guarding the LOS, he starts to stick the midfold. And, like I said, I look LOS, then midfold, and then if the MLB is sticking him, I look back to the LOS. It's just kind of like very, very easy. Fake the mid-split again. Now I've got time. He's wide open. I'm just a burger. I underthrew it. But that's why you need to be mechanical too. That's an example of, earlier I said, read the field. If you know how to read the field, it can carry your entire game. That's like a play where like you need mechanics to actually be decent. But I've redeemed myself anyway because they just played terrible defense. And I believe that's the last clip I have. It is actually. Okay, but yeah. So some things to go over. A few things we can kind of talk about that wasn't here is actually let me get on this. Okay, there's like a little chart. Ooh, okay, so for quarterback, there are like a few areas of QB. Right. So first you got your mechanics, you've got your scrambling, you've got decision making, you've got vision, and you got communication. Right. Was that the five like areas? So to kind of briefly go over them, mechanics is not really something you can kind of teach. Mechanics really is just basically playing the game. You gotta find a QB angle that suits you, that you feel comfortable with. Instead of trying to force yourself to use somebody else's, it's better to use your own and get comfortable with it, and eventually, if you use the same angle for a very long time, you're gonna get better with it. That's just how it is. A lot of different QBs all use different angles, and they all have their own preferences. Some people like to keep their cursor really high. Some people like to have it lower. Mine's pretty low around like the hike area. I kind of like to keep it there. People like Blaze can like to keep it higher up. And if I had to recommend one, I'd actually recommend having a higher one. Cause in this game, you want to kind of have a consistent camera angle. You really don't want to be zooming in and out a lot, or like moving your cursor around. You kind of want to keep everything consistent because you have cursor drift, which can make you very inaccurate. If you're zooming in and out, it's gonna mess up with like just everything. Because camera is like the most important thing, and then your cursor comes after. But then like you kind of want to keep everything very consistent. As well as what I have for mechanics, some ways to improve them. Just like again playing. If you want to get better at like deep deep plays, like deep balls or post, run some 2v2s. Any other like fold ball stuff. You can do labs, QBBs, all that type of stuff will get you better. Took me a bit to get my mechanics decent. And then next we got scrambling. So scrambling, what you kind of have here is I kind of explained it briefly earlier, but when you hike the ball, you kind of want to kind of sit mid for the first second. First few seconds you want to sit mid. Because if you S-holding, that immediately takes away the advantage that your offensive line and your tight end generate you. Because that right DE or left DE, whichever way you have your tight end, that DE is immediately at the play for the first second or two. Depends on how long he can hold them. So if you sit mid, it basically means that your center and your left DE are playing one-on-one. What do you need? Yes, hold on. It means that your center and your left DE are playing one-on-one, and they have two options, or they have three options technically. It's like, see if I can find an example. It's like, okay, right here. So I roll left, so I'm like kind of sit mid, right? So now this DE has three options. He either can go up and over. Where's my thingy at? Okay. He can either go up and over to try and ship me this way. He can go under, try and ship me that way. Or he can kind of just stay in the middle. Right, so let's say he goes, oh shoot. Let's say he goes this way. If he goes this way, your center will change his block, and you just take the mid-split, and you have infinite time. If he goes under, your center will block him this way, and you just take the lane. If he stays, then you stay with him. You kind of sit here, and you just wait for him to make a decision. If he doesn't really do anything, you don't really do anything. If he goes up, you go down. If he goes down, you go up. You just mirror him. And now this play, let's see what he did. He went under. but my center lagged anyway, so it didn't really work out. Almost done. So yeah, that's kind of like the most basic way of scrambling, is to just basically play one-on-one with that lefty E. There's a very in-depth video that Slack has up. I'll probably link it in the description of this video, or maybe like in the comments, I don't really know. But a very in-depth way of scrambling and why offense is so advantageous in this game over defense. Alright, next we have decision making. So we got that. Decision making. This is basically like knowing what to throw and what not to throw. So basically forcing the ball. A lot of QBs nowadays, they focus everything on their mechanics and they force the ball a ton. They force deep, they force folds because they want to look cool. You know, they try to make like the hardest pass to try and like make them think that they're better than they actually are. And so, um, really the only thing you can really do about decision making is just really taking whatever the defense gives you. You know, all the GOAT QBs, they have amazing decision making. Like they do not force like anything. Like you got like Champ, this guy is probably the smartest player in the entire game at quarterback because he rarely would force the ball. He would almost always take whatever the defense gave him. You had let's see, like Prime Chase was also really good at taking the defense, taking them apart. Big Shooter's good at that. Example of, you know, bad decision making is Graph Dog. This guy would just focus everything on his mechanics. I don't know if y'all were around for like, well, like season 20, like 9. It's like Champ versus Graph in the Super Bowl, and all Graph did the entire game was throw deep, and he got destroyed, absolutely destroyed, because all he did was throw deep. And so you kind of want to be able to pick apart the defense by just taking whatever they give you. You know, looking at QB, I was just picking apart the MLB, and just whatever he guards, I'll throw the opposite. And then based on what the deeps do, I'll throw whatever. You basically mirror what they do. Very, very easy. So I got that done. Vision, I basically went over. But another way to talk about it, you read from low to high, so your LOS, like you have your LOS, and I like the mid folds, and then like your other folds, and then like the deep ball. Because the deep ball takes the longest to develop, meaning you should look at it last. So your LOS will be the quickest thing to get open, because it's the shortest route. And then your hmm? And then your mid fold after, and your deep. So, and again, your mid fold is basically based on if that's covered, you look at whatever side is guarding it, and you look at the fold over there, or the deep over there. So like, if that deep left makes a read on the mid fold, you look at that left fold, and you'll kind of look at that left streak after, you know. So that's a very simple way of reading it. Almost done. So yeah, but y'all can just kind of, I have videos up online. Should probably start making more updated videos, but, and then finally we have communication. This is very, very, very important, because communicating during the play is really, really crucial. If you're able to like make out callouts and tell your team like where to route, like let's say you have like a guy burning and you see like that post to right gap is open. Yeah, I'll talk, like let's say like the guy streaking and the defender is playing on the inside gap, and that post out is open. If you tell him, yo, post out right corner, and he does it, it's just like guaranteed touchdown if you can make the pass, you know, or like telling them to come back, or like cut in, all that type of stuff. You know, reading the defense isn't just about defenders, but also looking at open space as well. You want to look at the space on the field and tell your team where to cut to. Very important to do that as well. And then, you know, you also have like some other things that were left out. You have red zone, but it's just basically VC plays. That's a really ugly art. That's not much better. Red zone, like left out. You know, being able to get to the red zone and having enough plays to get you by. And then you have Honestly, that might be it. I really don't know much else, low key. But yeah, that's basically all I got. So yeah, that's actually all I have. So yeah, okay. So yeah, mechanics, scrambling, decision making, vision, and communication. Those are the five like pillars. So yeah, that's really all I got. If y'all have like videos y'all want me to go over of like your own gameplay from DBU, just like DM me and I can go over yours as well. I'm gonna be trying to do these videos as much as I can. Start recording my own games as well, own KBBs, and try and like learn more. Try and get y'all to learn more as well. Basically, try and teach you guys all I know. But if you have your own videos that you want me to go over, just let me know. I can do a video like this on your own gameplay, which actually will probably be better because it'll be like my first time watching it. So, you know, I already played in this. I know how it's gonna go. But yeah, like a live reaction would be pretty good. But yeah, just shoot me a DM and I'll go over it. But yeah, that's all I really got. So